Hey, this is Brett the Hitman Hart, the best there is, best there was, and the best there ever will be. And you're listening to the Smacked Raw podcast.
Welcome to the Smackdown Recap podcast. This is your first time host, Seb, as our guys here call me, Sebastian, wrestling fanatic, bunch of names, AJ Styles of Wrestling Podcast. I'm joined here by Vince.
Hey, how's
How
it
you doing,
going? I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm
And
excited.
I'm also joined here by the usual host, Kyle, that was at the show tonight. How you feeling, Kyle?
I'm good, man. I'm good, dude. I'm just ready to get into this stuff.
Sweet. So, Kyle, this was your first live TV taping, right?
Yeah, man. Pop the cherry, bro. Pop the cherry. Fayetteville, North Carolina. It was nice. Good Smackdown.
Vince, what did you think about the show?
I think I enjoyed it way more knowing that Kyle was there for the first time. I think that's
that's so sweet, dude.
I think that's what made the show. I'm like, where's
Yo.
Kyle? Is Kyle watching this? Is he having fun? That's all I care about.
Man, I was, bro. I was.
No, but
I'll tell you. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No,
Sorry,
I mean, I was gonna say, like, jokes aside, like, it was a good show. I liked it. I mean, there were some downs, there were some ups, but let's focus on the ups.
Yeah, there was. I actually did a post, or a poll, I should say. And I guess I'm in the minority. 46% say a D or an F for the night show.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm in the minority. I enjoyed it. Yeah, there were some downs, like you said, but for the most part, everything had a purpose, and that's really all you can ask. Especially WWE, when 9% of it doesn't mean anything.
Well,
So
I can say from the live audience, Otis from Heavy Machinery and Roman Reigns both easily got the biggest reactions of the night. And the crowd really didn't poo on anything they were given. Like I will say this. I'm not saying like I was part of like a rabid crowd. I don't know how it translated to TV, but I will say that I was worried that North Carolina was going to sleep through this episode, but no, Fayetteville tried to come alive as much as they could. But definitely the stars from a live perspective were Otis and Heavy Machinery. Tucker, too. I heard a bunch of Tucker fans around me. So I didn't even know they existed.
So,
and then Roman Reigns as well.
yeah, it came across that way on TV too. Vince, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but from my point of view, it seemed like they reacted, or you guys reacted, exactly how WWE would want you to.
Oh yeah.
Am I right when I say that, Vince?
Oh yeah, I would totally agree with you, Seb. Because it really just felt like it didn't stand out. Like, no offense, Kyle, didn't stand out like one of those like big hot market crowds, like a Philly or a Chicago or a Toronto or Cali. But it felt like an active crowd, and the crowd that was actually playing along to the story that was being told to them. Like Lacey Evans, for instance, was supposed to be the babyface in her storyline situation, and the crowd was chanting for Lacey.
Oh, they booed the crap out of her in the beginning, though.
Oh,
it wasn't until she name dropped the Marines that they started cheering.
America.
But I don't. Yeah. I don't know if it came through like when we were televised, but originally everyone was chanting like "We want Sasha."
Oh,
but
really?
the moment Sasha, But the moment Sasha came out and was playing the heel, everyone followed suit and started booing her. But yeah, the crowd was definitely pro Sasha before that segment really got going.
Gotcha.
It was around that time. It can't sound like on my TV. I think she dropped the dollar line first, and that's when it seemed like to me, which it was moments before. It wasn't 3 seconds difference, but that was when it sounded like they started leaning toward Lacey.
I think that was the moment too.
But you guys played along for the most part. I thought you guys did your job.
Yeah.
So one thing I do want to ask, a segment like this, it's going to have mixed opinions, and it seemed like that at the last segment, the dog food. It seemed like Corbin was getting legit heel heat. Is that true? Okay.
Yeah. From the live audience, they were booing Corbin. Like My section alone around me, they were like, get out of here. Like, they weren't like booing WWE, like, this sucks. No, they were booing the actions that took place. Um, I couldn't help but try to bring attention to me. And like halfway through Roman getting handcuffed and getting beat down by Corbin and Ziggler, and then like the enhancement talent, whatever. I was like, dude, Roman Reigns has no friends. And everyone was around me like, yeah, dude, where's all his friends? Like, why is no one coming out here? And then one drunk guy was like, yeah, he's just a pretty face. I was like, wow, manly of you to call him pretty. But
Well, to be
but
fair,
no,
Kyle, I
it,
mean,
it
one of
really
his
felt
friends
like
is on Raw and the other one's on AEW, so his two main friends are everywhere else.
But I will say that, like, so from my live perspective, before I bounce, because I'm not going to be like a permanent fixture on tonight's episode. But from a live perspective, the audience really seemed like they were trying to participate in the story. Like the Fayetteville, North Carolina audience really seemed like they were trying to be like, okay, you want us to boo? They were trying to boo. You want us to cheer? We were trying to cheer. There wasn't really much division in the crowd. You faintly heard some like let's go Roman sucks, but it never took off.
Mm-hmm.
It really just felt like the faces got cheered, the heels got booed. Everyone was just trying to play their part in adding to the story, which I guess is all you can ask for. You know what I mean? Sorry, we're not Chicago, and we're not Philly, where we're just like rabid. Like the most heat was got by the dude with the Smackville sign, because he blocked such a huge. This dude had a huge ass sign, man, and like it sucked, bro. Like, I don't know how to articulate. It just sucked. There was a dude with a sign, blocked a lot of perspective. He really took away from the enjoyment in my section of the crowd.
Mm-hmm.
He got more heat than damn Baron Corbin at times.
Oh.
But
I can attest to that. Like I've a couple of times I'll take like a sign and people will be like, "Put the sign down." I'm like, "Oh, sorry."
yeah,
Imagine going back in the Attitude Era. Like we do these throwbacks,
dude, I
and at the
couldn't
start of
imagine.
shows, and there's signs everywhere. Like, how did people see back then?
Yeah,
But one last question, Kyle. I know you get ready to go, but I
Yeah.
noticed this on TV, and I was wondering if the live crowd picked it up during the Roman segment. There was somebody that reached out from under the ring and grabbed his foot, and we never really got an answer or really any follow up after that hand came out and grabbed his foot the first time. Did the live crowd pick that up, or
no, not me or anybody around me. We didn't know. Like
Okay.
the match on our end just seemed really straightforward.
No, it wasn't during the match. It was while Roman was brawling with everybody at ringside.
Oh yeah, no. We just caught the let's call them stagehands or enhancement talent. They got in there, they got beat up by Roman, and then Ziggler and Corbin. Yeah, there was no like mystery angle where everyone was like, "Who was that?" Like, no.
Did you see it, Vince?
No, I didn't actually catch what it was or who it was. I don't think I even noticed his feet were tied up until like after they were doing the whole dog food stuff. It was like Roman just kick, and then I saw his feet were tied up. I guess I would look down at that point, but I'm like, oh wait, hold up, he can't even do anything.
It was a little before he was on the post. It was while he was actually like throwing punches and fighting back. And then all of a sudden, a hand just grabs his foot. I expected, Robert Roode to come out, but we just never figured it out. And I was just curious if that came across the live crowd.
Hey, listen, man. Before I go, I will say, man, North Carolina, they love themselves some Roman, but if Roman wasn't there, it's Otis all day, baby. Like they were kids with signs telling him to do the worm. So I was like, yeah, you ain't getting on TV, kid, if you don't have it.
Oh, wait! Before you leave, one quick thing. Like
Yeah.
how did the crowd receive the whole Elias segment in the ring?
They loved it.
Really?
They absolutely loved it. They booed the hell out of Drake, and they were cheering Elias on. Man, they were clapping along when he was doing the song backstage with Dana and everything. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna say our crowd was the most prolific out of like the crowds that you hope you get. But I can honestly say, man, they were trying. Like, there at no point was the crowd sleeping, and I was like, you guys, like, what the hell? Like, no, like a lot of the time, man, they were trying to get into it, and yeah.
That picked up for me too. I I think your crowd tonight did a very good job.
Yeah, they were trying, man. They really were. They just it was awkward. I could tell like it was they couldn't get any chance going. Like they could not get any like chance going. Like I would hear some chance start and then it would just die. Or like it would start and it would travel to like another end of the arena and then just die right away.
I know what that. I know what that's like.
Yeah, no, I was like, but it's like I said, when it came time to cheer and boo, everybody was there for that. You know what I mean?
No, I thought it was.
But
I thought it
yeah,
was a really good crowd, Kyle. Like you guys
appreciate that. Yeah,
like
man.
in general, like the one thing you don't want out of a crowd is like a too smarky crowd, which sometimes Chicago can be, or a really dead crowd, which other cities can be. And like you weren't anywhere. You were like right in the middle of where like you didn't like obviously weren't able to start a big chant, but you guys were able to like play your role in the show and help move stories along, which is probably the best kind of crowd you can ask for if you're WWE.
Yeah. The only thing I was bummed about before I go is Carmella had a match before the night started. I really wish I'd saw that because I'm a big Carmella fan actually. I don't know if I ever disclosed that, but yeah.
I don't think you have.
And then
this is news to me.
no. She's a former dude, hey look man, I'm a Patriots fan. She's a former Patriots cheerleader. I'm sorry. It's by default I have to be a fan of Carmella. And then also there was scheduled a dark match between the Fiend and the Miz that after that was going to take place after 205 Live. I didn't have the heart in me to stick around. I didn't really want to risk Angel Garza stealing my wife, so we had to get out there the second SmackDown went off the air because Angel Garza had like the first damn match of the night. So I was like, nah, we got to go, babe. She's like, but I want to see this guy. He looks like Eddie, and I was like, no, you don't. All right, so
I'm like, I heard about his pants. Oh my gosh!
No, but hey, listen, man, you guys have a great show. Like I said, we had fun. We were there, so hopefully that translated to you guys. But I mean, for tonight, I'm out, man. You guys have an awesome show. Okay.
You have a good one, Kyle.
Later, Kyle.
Later.
All right. So Vince, what was the highlight of SmackDown for you?
For me, honestly, gotta go back and to the start of the segment. I think the Miz versus Daniel Bryan is a very interesting feud, even if it's just a short-term thing, because I think they really hit the money on it, where like it changed the Miz from Hollywood Miz to being Dad Miz and a family man Miz, and that's who Bray Wyatt was targeting. And the fact that it looks like in this feud it's going to be Bray Wyatt and not the Fiend taking on the Miz, which I think that was the big thing. And obviously the Fatal 4-Way tag match, which I thought was the match of the night. But yeah, in terms of like what I enjoyed the most, I thought the Miz Bray Wyatt storyline was my favorite part.
I agree. The moment in particular for me was probably when Funhouse Bray attacked Miz backstage. That was the first time that the regular Bray character has been shown outside the Funhouse.
Yeah.
So I just found that interesting. Do you think it was a good use of the first time? Because
I don't know. I kind of would have liked to see Firefly Funhouse Bray to actually be on Miz TV in the live audience. I don't know if the sneaky attacking Miz was the way I'd go with it. It felt more like more like a Fiend move to do, more like an old school Bray Wyatt thing to do. I kind of want to see a little bit more distinction between Bray Wyatt and the Fiend. But, it's still early, so we'll see what happens, Maybe it was just a one-time thing. I'm open to the idea. I would have, me personally, I would have preferred the Bray Wyatt to show up on Miz TV in the arena.
Yeah, that'd have been cool. Really the reason I liked it was just the mind games. I thought it was a very, like you said, it was kind of a Fiend thing to do, but Bray does even in his Funhouse segments, he likes to say riddles and, just play mind games. And the way they did it with the picture, with Bray, with the Miz's family, and that's what pretty much set the trap. I thought that was a good consistency. And like I said, that's something you don't get a lot of in WWE. So I just thought it played. And hats off to commentary, too. Bringing up what we say, and commentary don't really say stuff like this. The Fiend and Bray bring out the worst in people. They specifically said that, talking about Seth and Daniel. So I thought that was good.
Yeah, it was something that I've been saying for a while, that like the Fiend / Bray Wyatt should change people. Like whenever
Yes.
even if Bray doesn't win the feud, he should change someone because you've been in the feud with them. And it wasn't true to the Bray Wyatt character in the past, but now with the new Fiend character, it's changed Finn Balor. Obviously, it's changed Seth Rollins, and I like that they pointed it out. Both Miz pointed it out last week, and commentary has been pointing it out tonight. So I really like it. That consistency, little tiny details like that really matter.
Yes, absolutely. And that's something that I wish that we would see with more characters. And I don't know if it's Bray, and Bray's not a first generation guy. His family's been in this business, so maybe it's just him. He gets it. Maybe it's just that. Some other people don't. But I just wish it was something we saw more across the board, just a consistency we have seen with Bray. And some of that might be creative. You never know. But it seems like that they've let Bray, kind of like Brian, have some leeway and freedom in what they've been doing here lately.
Yeah, for sure. I like it. I'm a fan.
So I guess first, since it was really the only tag match, we'll just bring up this. The Fatal 4-Way tag match. We had Ali and Gable versus Heavy Machinery versus Lucha House Party versus the Revival for the number one contenders for the New Day's Tag Championships at TLC in, so far, a regular match. What did you think of the match, and did they get the result right, in your opinion?
I think it's interesting that they're going back to Revival versus New Day. I mean, obviously I'm spoiling the ending right there. I don't know. I'm open to the idea because obviously Revival and New Day are two of the best tag teams in all of like the planet. They can get a great match out of there, and that's really all I want right now from a pay-per-view that has 0 matches is good wrestling on it. And this Fatal 4-Way match was very interesting because it was elimination, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes, it was elimination.
And what I liked is that like early on you had like a little like one-upsmanship between like I think it was Metalik and Shorty G, and then it was I think Tucker from Heavy Machinery and Ali, or like I don't know if I'm getting the wrestlers mixed up, but it was like a couple like one-upsmanships to start off the match, which I thought was really good. I just like that Lucha House Party were on the show in general. I think they've been underutilized recently, and that's a little like wink wink jab jab at our future podcasting episodes that we are going to try to bring up. I think that they added a lot to this match. I think Shorty G and Ali is the only thing I wasn't happy about because I don't want them teaming up together. I've stated in the past that I'm not a fan of them as a tag team, but overall, I mean, they're still two solid wrestlers. I thought all 4 teams had great chemistry, and it was, like I said, probably the best match of the night.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely the best match of the night, in my opinion. And that's not really a knock against Roman and Dolph. I thought they had a good match, too. And they always do. The duo Roman and Dolph is a duo that's always going to have a good match. But the thing about it is it don't matter how good the match is and how much Dolph, looks like they're going to pull it out. Roman always wins. I don't think Dolph's ever pinned Roman. I doubt he ever will. So...
No.
In this match, you kind of didn't know who would win. Like you said, the Revival have that history, and they could easily play back to that. They could have went with Ali. Heavy Machinery also would have been interesting. Just Otis and Big E in the ring playing off each other would be good.
Oh, for sure.
Lucha House Party was about the only team I didn't see. That was in the conversation, and it just wouldn't make sense. I don't think like I said, Otis and Big E, you could play that off. I don't see any way Lucha versus New Day would have a story behind it.
I think...
And that played, too. They was eliminated first, and I thought that was the right call. What was you saying?
No, I was going to say that I think I would have only liked Lucha House Party because, A, I'm a big fan of them, and I think that they're very underutilized. They were 3 of the best wrestlers on the roster, and I don't think they get the shine they deserve. I think even if they were to win, I think like you were saying, you're correct. They probably would be the biggest shock win because you can kind of see Revival. That they're the mainstay. Even Heavy Machinery, Otis is over, just like Kyle was saying, and Ali and Shorty G, two guys they've been pushing to the top of like the SmackDown roster. And as much as I hate to say it, like right now, Lucha House Party hasn't been highlighted. They haven't been on TV that often. So had they won, it would have felt like it came out of nowhere. So it made sense that they were the first ones eliminated. I'm not happy with the results, but it is what it is. But yeah, New Day were out there on commentary. I thought it added a nice touch because, like you were saying, like you wanted to see Otis and Big E like play off each other, and Big E was out there like really fangirling over Otis when he was in the ring. So it was really good. New Day, like not too many people can come on to, like in terms of wrestlers, can come on commentary and add to the match. I thought New Day really added, and they actually got involved towards the end of the match too, right?
Yeah, when shortly after, well, not shortly, I guess it was a few minutes after Lucha House Party got eliminated, Otis got caught by just a roll up by Scott Dawson that became just a 2-on-2, and Ali and Gable threw the Revival into the New Day, causing a little stir up. No fist or anything, but just Rev came out there and made sure there was no contact.
Yeah.
And two, I know you said, and I kind of see what you're saying with Ali and Gable being a tag team, not wanting it. I don't mind it as long as it's not like a permanent thing. Like back in the early 2000s, Chris Jericho and Christian was a tag team that you'd see paired up, and it wouldn't be all the time, but they did have like a title run, and even when they wasn't teaming, they were just friends backstage. I would like to see something like that between them two. I don't want a permanent tag team, even though the SmackDown tag division does kind of need a little extra. They really need the Usos to come back, really.
I think both Raw and SmackDown tag team division need the Usos, because right now, like the tag team divisions on both shows are very lackluster.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah.
I mean,
especially on Raw, because ever in really the OC, you don't really have much competition for the Vikings off the top of my head, unless I'm forgetting.
I mean, they got AOP, but it looks like they transitioned away from the tag team scene to like being into a partnership with Seth. But I don't know, like it's a problem. I do miss the Usos. They would have been an interesting team to be added to this match. I mean, you were asking me what you thought the right person won. I think overall, if you want the best match, and I don't know, maybe the Revival might end up getting the tag titles right back. But do you think that the Revival was like the safe bet or like the best choice here?
Probably. For a card that's 9 days away, you want, and I understand that a lot of people was been, on there's no matches announced train. And I get that. But at the same time, I don't need everything sped up. At the end of the day, I knew Roman and Corbin was going to have a match. I mean, there were 6 matches off the top of my head. I knew it was going to be it. They just wasn't announced. So I didn't really have a problem with that. But that being said, Revival and New Day have the most history. And if you do kind of got to build something with 9 days, that's the easiest. You have Revival taking out of Xavier's knee. And the commentary played it up. Revival, as soon as they was out there, they asked the New Day, how was Xavier's knee? So they was already bringing that history up. So I thought it was a safe bet, not just for the match, but just for, building the match's sake.
Yeah.
If I had to probably phrase it right.
If you weren't really sold on the Revival being the winners here, I think their promo at the end of the match really did, because like they were bringing up so much stuff. They seemed heated. They sounded like very passionate about the tag titles, which makes you care about the tag division. If you see the wrestlers care, then you're gonna care too by default. I thought that was good. I think the promo by the Revival itself sold me on the match. Obviously you see New Day versus Revival, and that sells all by itself, but it got a little heat behind the match.
Yeah, absolutely. And, hats off to Revival. Their last 3 or 4 promos, I think, have been really good. Not just on TV, but, the exclusives they shoot for Twitter and all that. If you go back and find theirs, especially the one about Undisputed Era. That one was great. So hats off to them, and hats off to WWE. As much negativity as you could have around them, the last few weeks it seems like they're just letting them talk. I know it's still scripted. I'm not saying or sending them out there and let them say what they want, but they've done a better job of making it seem unscripted. If you go back to Monday, and Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre had that exchange, I thought that was a good example.
Yeah, I thought that whole exchange was amazing, and you're correct, Seb. It does feel that way. It feels like they're loosening the reins a bit, and it's showing on the product.
Yeah, and like I said, just clear. I'm not saying they are unscripted. I'm saying the writers are doing a better job of making it seem that way, where it doesn't come across on TV. In no way do I think Vince is just saying, "Go on out there, guys, make it work,"
right?
Because that's just not how Vince works, unfortunately. But like I said, that was the only thing with the tag division tonight. We can talk about, there was 2 women's matches there. We had Alexa Bliss versus Mandy Rose. It was Alexa's first match back. Myself, I wasn't too impressed with the match. I felt like it was, Alexa was rusty and Mandy didn't really do a good job of covering that. Would you agree with that? I
mean, to be fair, I mean, no knock on Mandy Rose is that she's not like a great in-ring technician, and that's not knocking on her because she has a great arsenal. I love her moveset. She hasn't been doing it for too long, and she doesn't get a chance to wrestle consistently, so she's not gonna get the reps that she needs. I like the V-trigger knee strike that she hit on the outside. I thought that was really good. I thought there were some interesting spots in the match. But yeah, it wasn't the best match of the night by any means. And I mean, again, it's like, I'm not knocking anyone in this match. I just didn't think too much happened. It was just a match to go ahead and have Alexa be solidified and like get people incorporated in like, what's the word I'm looking for? Incorporate Alexa back into the SmackDown Women's roster with their first match. It's a continuation of the feud that they kind of started last week, so it's going well. It did end up like Alexa did end up with the win at the end with the Twisted Bliss. Thought it was the right result. It's sometimes here's the thing. Sometimes with shows like these, you can't have like an AEW or NXT or like Takeover and have every match be like a 5-star match or like an amazing match. Sometimes you just need one of these matches that further storyline, and I think this furthered the storyline.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. You mentioned how AEW and NXT pulls that off. When, I don't know how many people noticed this, but when AEW first started their first few weeks, and I didn't even pick it up when I first, was watching it. It had to be pointed out to me. 14 minutes was pretty much the minimum of a match when they first started.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fine to have that kind of show, but in a way, I kind of like matches like this being intertwined because you don't know when the finish is going to happen.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean? It's like you don't want to sit there, and it's one thing that I've disliked about New Japan Pro Wrestling, where like they're all really great matches, but I don't want to sit here for this match that can be told in like 5 or 7 minutes. Maybe we're just conditioned to the WWE style, perhaps. I don't know what it is, but I'd rather have this kind of Alexa match versus Mandy Rose. It lasted like maybe 7 minutes, maybe. It didn't. I don't even know if it hit double digits, but I'd rather.
No, it was around six minutes or so. Like
yeah, so I'd rather have that kind of match as opposed to letting these girls go out for like. Oh, again, it's like not knocking the girls. They're like any like 2 wrestlers that shouldn't like have a long match like that. Like if a match can be told in like 6-7 minutes, sometimes you need those kind of matches to move the pace along. Instead, I honestly, between these 2, like pair them up together, I don't want to see Alexa Bliss versus Mandy Rose for like 15 plus minutes or so. So that's where I stand from. It's just like I'm a big advocate for women's wrestling, and I don't want to make it seem like I'm coming off like, oh, women's wrestling shouldn't have that much time. It's just like it just wasn't there. Like it wasn't clicking between these 2, and the match should have been cut like the way it was. The main thing I want to point out here, the big thing, is that I forgot her last name, but Jessica from NXT, the NXT ref, she's now on SmackDown. She was refereeing this match. Kudos to her. I'm so happy for her. that was the big highlight for me in this match. I almost forgot to mention it, but yeah, I brought that right back around, and I did want to give her props that I'm geeked that she's on there because she's a pioneer, and it's one of those things that I like, that it was subtle. And it was a big moment, but it was subtle. It was perfect. And it wasn't just like shoved in our face. Like women's evolution.
Yes.
Like
Yes,
I love the
absolutely.
women. I love the women, but I hate how WWE tries to like brand it and make money off of it. Just let like CM Punk was saying, and like I've said, and many have said on Twitter and everywhere else, just let the girls go out there and do their thing. You know, just give them the chance.
Absolutely.
Don't make a big deal about it. Like unless it is a big deal. You know, like the Mania main event or the pay-per-view. You know, like Evolution pay-per-view,
Yeah.
stuff like that. But
Or like Lacey, and I know these shows are still coming, but you know Lacey, and that's something we never really talked about on it. Lacey and Natalya having a Saudi Arabia match. You know,
oh
first
yeah,
time
I thought that was a big
Yeah.
deal, but they didn't make it a big deal until like the following SmackDown where they when they were on Fox, like, oh, kudos to Lacey Evans and Natalya, and it's like,
Well,
yeah,
on social media, to be fair, they didn't really know that was going to happen. And if you go, they have a on this day, I can't remember what it's on the network. The day of, I think it's called, and you know, it could have been very easy to add spotlight on Brock versus Kane or something, but the whole episode was about Natalya and Lacey Evans.
no,
And,
no,
you know,
but I mean in terms of like Stephanie came out and announced it to the live crowd and on television. I'm saying all they had to do was just have Michael Cole show the big moment, show like a recap, like if it was a WrestleMania recap. But they felt the need to have Stephanie McMahon come out and
Yeah.
do it. That's
Yeah.
what I'm knocking. I'm not knocking that they highlighted it because not too many people watched Crown Jewel and didn't see the match, didn't knew about the match, but it was a big deal on social media, and just give it its proper highlight like it should have. Like there was no need for Stephanie to come out. That's what I mean. It's like stuff like Stephanie
Yeah.
come out and announcing stuff is what I don't like.
Okay. I thought when you first said waiting to SmackDown, I thought you meant they waited too long to bring it up.
No,
I was just
no,
going to say, to be fair, you know, they didn't know till the day before, and Natalya and Lacey both, you know, made that clear on their show or episode they was highlighted on. But, you know, just moving on, and I do agree with you. I think, you know, the women's evolution, and I'm all for women's wrestling, but I think that a lot of times, you know, the hashtag isn't needed.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, the main event of WrestleMania, and it's even okay to say first ever. Like if they have the reported match at TLC, Becky and Charlotte versus Asuka and Kairi Sane. You know, if you want to say first ever TLC match for the women's tag titles, that's fine. But you know, just leave it at that. You don't have to add 10 hashtags to it.
Right, exactly. I got you.
Other women's segment we had tonight was Lacey Evans in a squash match against a local talent. It really wasn't much of a match at all. It was a basic squash. Lacey wins. Sasha comes out. And,
Well, here's the
what did you
thing.
think?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what did you think? And we did kind of talk about it a little earlier. But did you think Lacey did a good job of delivering the promo? That's always kind of people's been at her character. Do you think she did a good job tonight, or over pushing the babyface turn too early? What do you think?
So for me, I felt like last week the turn just kind of came out of nowhere. It legit just didn't feel like it had any legs to it because she was kept off TV for a while. Then she was added to the Survivor Series team via social media. There was no character motivation as to like her being a babyface or any inclination that she was a babyface. She just started acting more like a babyface. Then last week Bayley and Sasha called out the women's locker room and singled out Lacey, and obviously they're heels. So by default, Lacey became a babyface. She had a babyface segment last week, and today she had the promo. I mean, for the most, I mean, me personally, I'm not gonna look at Lacey Evans. She's just always gonna come off like a heel, kind of like a Randy Orton. No matter how babyface you try to make Randy Orton, he's always gonna come off like a heel to me. She's a natural heel. If the crowd in the attendance is behind her, that's all you're doing your job. Like you're not gonna sit here and try to impress one local guy in Chicago watching on his TV, right? So if the crowd in attendance is getting the reaction, you're getting the reaction from the crowd that you want, then you're doing a good job. So I think she did a good job in the sense that there were lazy chants for her last week, and there were lazy chants for her this week when she was engaging with Sasha. Because like you said, she came out and Lacey was about to just like leave the ring. It was Sasha that came in and interrupted her. The one thing I'm gonna nitpick here is that Sasha's like, "Oh, I got a bone to pick with you," and then it cuts to commercial, and then we come back, and then there's still That's the only thing I'm gonna say. It's like I hated that. I just didn't like that.
Yeah, and as much as I say they've been improving the promos and stuff here the last few weeks. That's something that they kind of losing. I feel like it might have been last week or a week before, but I feel like it happened like 4 times in one episode where they just went to commercial at a terrible time, and you were just like, "What happened?" You know?
Yeah.
And then they come back and they're just still there, and you're like, and you know me, I rant about this all the time. I've been to a live show, and so have you. They're in a commercial, they just stand in a ring, and I just feel like that takes the live crowd out of it.
It can, but luckily it didn't, because that's when like the crowd got a little bit more back and forth. I thought it was good. I thought the promo's good. I just don't know where it's going. If this is gonna lead to a Sasha Lacey feud or a Lacey Bayley feud. I think what happened here. I mean, I know I'm jumping ahead here, but you know, this whole thing was just a setup for Bayley to attack Lacey, and maybe right now that's the path they're gonna go with. Lacey Evans and a partner of her choosing versus Boston Hook Connection at TLC, since there is no matches. And maybe they're leaving it up in the open, like, because you said they haven't announced anything, and the reports are that Vince hasn't made up his mind and said anything in stone as to what he wants to do. So maybe he wants to give a title shot to Lacey. Maybe it's a Sasha match. Maybe it's a tag match. I don't know. I think the promo and the segments all together kind of just like did the job of, like, Lacey is like this baby face that's going to stand up for herself and is going to sit here and be disrespected by Bayley and Sasha, and it leaves it wide open to whatever Vince McMahon wants to do next week.
Yeah, I agree. I think eventually, maybe even TLC, and you might get Lacey versus Sasha next week on SmackDown, and if Lacey wins in some way, then she gets a title match at TLC.
No, that's probably it.
But either way, I think it's eventually going to get to Bayley. But just the way the story's played out, I think Sasha's going to be a mountain to climb first.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fine. It makes sense. Just the way they told the story. But you were saying it came out of nowhere, the face turn. I kind of seen something coming, and don't get me wrong. I know these shows on the network are like backstage, and they're not usually character. They don't usually point to that character. Like you'll see Baron Corbin in there, being a nice guy sometimes. But just the way they portrayed Lacey and the things Lacey was saying in that show, I was sitting there thinking when I watched it, she could be a good babyface. If you haven't watched it, Vince, it's about a 20-minute show. It's not long if you have 20 minutes to spare.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I think she has potential to be a good babyface.
Oh, you're talking about like the Chronicles thing, right?
Yeah, the day of, I think.
The day of ones.
They did the day of.
They have so many like behind the scenes documentary things that I lose track of the names. Cause I know what you mean. Cause I sat there and I watched the Sasha Banks Chronicle one, and obviously they do the 24/7 one, or like 365 ones where like they take you like in the whole day, or WWE 24. That's what I'm thinking. They do the WWE 24, and then they do. I think they did one where it was like, I think it was Roman or Seth or AJ or Kevin, where it's like 365 days. You get so they do a really good job of stuff like that. I just I'm a big fan of it. I haven't checked out the Lacey one. I might go ahead and give it a look.
Well, it's just the day of Crown Jewel, and like I said, I do recommend. I don't like them pushing the women's evolution, but given where it was such a big deal, I do kind of like the whole 20 minutes was just pointed to Natalya and Lacey Evans' day. of getting ready for the match and their reactions to it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool. And Lacey, she came across like a very likable person. So I kind of felt like maybe this was something they were going to just off that, but I wasn't for sure. But I think it'll work. So eventually, I think it'll work. Just moving on through the show here, talking about some good talking points. We kind of touched on it earlier. Miz and Bray, and notice I said Bray. Match got announced. Bray is not, or the Fiend is not facing the Miz at TLC. It's gonna be Bray Wyatt facing Miz at TLC.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing.
And it's non-title too. So, do you think that means, we're going to see Daniel Bryan back at TLC to kind of cost Bray the match? And is Bray still protected where he's not the Fiend?
I don't know.
What do you think?
I don't know. So, so one thing that I was really annoyed about was not annoyed, but I guess it was just I saw the Fiend title and I'm like, oh, that's so lame. Because I saw so many people complain about it on Twitter, but when I actually watched the show, they actually didn't say that was the official title. Bray made it seem like that Fiend title is only for when the Fiend shows up, and then the Universal Blue title that he has, that he was even showing on the match graphic, that's the official title. So it was he made it seem like it was more of a toy. I to touch upon like you were saying, dude, I think I don't think Daniel's gonna show up just yet. I don't know what that segment from last week means for Daniel Bryan with all the hair and stuff. Maybe we're gonna see him get a haircut or something. So we might see him off TV another week or so. He might not show up until the SmackDown after TLC. So we'll see what happens with him. In terms of this, I think it's gonna be a thing where he's gonna beat the Miz, but it's more of leaves the door open for Bray to be able to wrestle as Funhouse Bray, and that's how you get the title off of him. You kind of trick him into wrestling as Funhouse Bray instead of the Fiend Bray Wyatt, and that's how you get the title off him. You get your cake and eat it too when you're Bray Wyatt / the Fiend. So I kind of like it. I think it's a nice little thing, and it furthers it because here's the thing. One thing I'm gonna say. I'm glad it wasn't a title match because, no offense to The Miz, I love The Miz. I think he's great. He hasn't done anything to earn a title shot.
You're right. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I would say, though, back to your point about that is a good way to take the belt off of Bray. I just don't know how that story plays out as long as Bray is a heel. You would think the babyface would want to destroy the Fiend to get the belt and not take on. Now, if there's a babyface turn for the Fiend and Bray, I could see that. But I think it's a tough story to tell as him a heel. And that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like I don't know, Rey Mysterio coming out there and just saying, I want regular Finn Balor, I don't want the Demon, I don't want him at his best, sort of. It just wouldn't feel right. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I totally get what you're saying.
But no, other than that, I don't have a problem. And The Miz has been involved with Bryan's segments for the last 3 to 4 weeks. So, another good case of just continue it. Good progressing storyline, making sense. Miz not a fan of Bryan, but you saw a couple of weeks ago, Miz was trying to talk Bryan out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Miz is a parent just like Bryan. And I think that's an easy story to tell, especially now that the family got brought in. He didn't want Bryan to go down this path that he's seen Seth or Finn, just for family.
And not only that, he mentioned it last week. It's he gave props to Bryan, saying that he's very important to SmackDown. He's very important part of SmackDown to not just the show but the locker room itself. So it was a weird dynamic to see both of them as baby faces, because I feel like we were getting close to that back later a couple years back while Bryan was GM. So it was a weird dynamic to see, but something I kind of enjoy. I really like this. And I don't know, maybe, we were talking about the tag team division being kind of weak. I wouldn't be opposed to like Miz and Bryan down the line at some point being a tag team. They have the history. I think it could work.
That would be kind of cool. I would enjoy, um, them being a team. I just don't know, with the division, unless you bring the Usos back. I don't know who would take the belts off out of
Yeah.
Because, it's a pretty talented tag team.
New Day.
But
New Day's still pretty solid.
Yeah, New Day. But do you really want to, it's kind of like the Charlotte effect with New Day. Do you really want to just keep taking the belt off just to give it back to him a few weeks down the line? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get you.
But no, like you said, he is a locker room leader, and Miz did say that, and that's, it makes sense. Now that the family's brought up, I do see kind of just more family-oriented stuff being brought in. And that feels kind of weird. I feel like so much of their storylines right now are family-based, for better or for worse. There's some bad ones. Let's bring this up. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Elias, Dana, and Drake. What did you make of this?
Backstage segment. This is 2 weeks in a row where Drake, even though he's happily married, I probably not happily married because he keeps hitting on Dana Brooke, and this is 2 weeks in a row that Elias goes ahead and just cock blocks Drake Maverick. I'm not a fan of it. I don't know what the point of it was. Yeah, the live crowd, according to Kyle, really enjoyed it. Was behind Elias, who were booing Drake Maverick. But you're out here, you're portraying Drake as a guy that's cheating on his wife and doesn't really care about his wife with Dana Brooke. And I think they're only really doing it because Dana's gotten a lot of attention because of the whole Batista stuff on Twitter. So they're trying to get her on TV because of that. I don't want to have, Dana on TV because she's some kind of love interest from some guy. I want to see her in the ring. I want to see her compete. So, and then Elias too. I think it was kind of weird because last time I saw him, he was threatening Mustafa Ali because he got injured or something. So last time I saw Elias he was a heel. So now he's a babyface and he's out here just playing up with the crowd. He's out here spanking Drake Maverick, and it's I don't know I don't know how to feel about that. It's I can't hate Drake Maverick because he's so entertaining, especially in the 24/7 title picture, and I don't like this whole Dana Drake interaction and Elias just being face out of nowhere. It's kind of weird to me. I'm not a fan of it. If this segment was this whole interactions, the two segments, the in the ring and the backstage stuff, if they were both taken off of the episode, I wouldn't miss it whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree. Only thing that really is positive about it, and I guess you can chalk it up to the Batista stuff, but I am glad that Dana is getting time, just TV time. And she's kind of protected this way. Something I wanted to mention earlier about Lacey Evans' squash match. This was a good example of it. We've seen the Viking Raiders on Mondays have squash matches for weeks. And there's some bottom feeder tag teams that you could easily throw out there. But, tonight it kind of made sense. If you look at the rest of the roster, you got Bayley and Sasha. They can't lose. You got Dana that is now kind of being protected and wanting to make sure they're shown in a good way out there, so Dana can't get it. Cross can't be beat right now. Alexa Bliss just came back. You got Fire and Desire. Carmella, I guess she could lose, but what's the point? And Tamina, there's really no one to take, a loss that would make a lot of sense. So I thought tonight was a good example of a squash match.
Yeah, it did what it was supposed to.
Yeah, but that's what I meant to just say. Dana is kind of, she's not out there getting pinned every week.
Right.
She's out there just getting crowd reactions, and like you said, that kind of does suck. That took Batista and her Twitter, I don't even know what to call it.
Interaction, I guess.
Yeah. So that kind of sucks. And I am kind of interested because commentaries played up too. So, and that kind of made the whole thing more confusing too. she's with Batista, but now she possibly may be Elias's valet. And at the same time, you have Drake backstage flirting with Dana, and then he comes out there and gets mad that Elias assaulted his wife in his marriage. Just a lot of inconsistencies with this. And it just doesn't make much sense. But yeah, I'm with you. Didn't like it. And I understand a lot of people. They got to make things work for different audiences, and I get that. But I just didn't like it. And really, but the only last talking point I can think of tonight is what we alluded to earlier. The main event, we had Roman versus Dolph. And they had a good match, like always. Like I said, they always have a good match together. And Dolph always sells that spear fantastically. But no matter what, they can be out there for an hour. And Roman's going to get the win, even with Baron Corbin's interference. But even then, to me, that would have been a better ending to the show than what we got.
Oh, yeah.
Vince, what did you think of the force-fed dog food?
Oh, man.
While Roman was handcuffed.
I don't like it whatsoever. Okay, so yeah, like you were alluding to it, it was a whatever match between Dolph and Roman. We touched upon it at the start of the show, and Corbin came out. The henchmen, they got involved. I mean, Kyle was mentioning, like, does Roman not have any friends? It's like, it makes you think. It's like, if I don't care if you're not my friend. If I see you, if I have no beef with you, but I see you're being assaulted and you're being force-fed dog food, I'm gonna go out there and be like, at least call the cops. I've been in situations where, like, I don't know this guy, but let me call for help, or like, oh, I see a situation happening and I don't know him personally, but let me go and help. It makes you think that, like, man, either everyone was busy backstage and catering, or, like, I don't know, Roman just did something to, like, upset the locker room backstage. I don't know, like, maybe he just, like, let one rip in the locker room, and then nobody's like, no.
It's like 9:58. Everybody's packing to go home. Nobody's even looking
at maybe that's what happened. Maybe everybody was trying to beat the locker room was trying to beat traffic and beat the crowd and get out of there as soon as possible, and they just left Roman there. They assumed he'd be okay. Okay, so overall, I saw the segment. I thought it was terrible. I hated the whole dog food stuff. You could have still had, like, even like the whole, like, handcuffing to the ring post. That wasn't bad. It's when they brought up the dog food stuff that's bad.
Yeah, I agree. When they tied him to the pole, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. We've seen it a few times, but it's a spot that's not really overdone. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, that's different. And then all of a sudden they go in the ring, and I was optimistic. I was like, oh, they're bringing a weapon. This is going to be kind of cool. They're going to bring out even though it's kind of corny because it's PG and they're limited. They're going to bring a Singapore cat out and whip them with it. But no, it was dog food. And I will say this. Like Kyle said, the crowd ate it up. And as long as crowds react to things, and I know another angle it's not really fond of right now on Twitter, and I'm not a big fan of it either, is the Rusev and Lashley. But at the end of the day, those Rusev Day chants now start as soon as Lana and Bobby Lashley appear.
Right.
Like, they could just be. So at the end of the day, as far as crowd reaction goes, it's working. I mean, Corbin and Dolph got massive heat, and I get that. That's what they're supposed to do. It's just they got to be a better way to do it, dog.
There has to.
I will say this, and it's something that I liked about Raw on Monday. Kevin Owens. You don't see a smart baby face. They're always looked to be, just dumb. And that's something I've always complained about. Heels are smarter than baby faces 90% of the time. And it's just, why? But Kevin Owens was out there, and Seth was like, me and you versus AOP, and Kevin was like, no, why? So all three of you beat me up, and I thought that was really smart. And on the flip side, I saw a take on Twitter at the end. Why wasn't it brutal? They did hang him up to the post. They could have just brutalized him. Well, that wasn't what Corbin promised. Corbin did promise all week that he was going to humiliate Roman Reigns.
I mean, that's where the dog food stuff came from. I mean, it's cringe. It's bad TV to watch it. But here, like I was saying, I think he got what he wanted. Like, he delivered on his promise was to humiliate Roman.
And that's what I was going to say. Heels promise things 90% of the time, and normally when they promise something, you're like, well, it's not going to happen. That never does. So I will say that it was different as far as Corbin did fulfill his promise. He wasn't out there to hurt Roman. He was out there to, like you said, humiliate. So I get it. I just wish there was a better way to do it.
I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. If this happens in like a smart, more of a like smart marquee crowd, or like just a more like wrestling town that gets these shows more regularly, they would have shitted on this segment from the minute they saw the dog food. They would have booed it. They would have said this is BS. They would have started some kind of whatever chant. They would have done a CM Punk chant if it was Chicago. They would have done like whatever kind of chant or whatever. They would have done something else, and they wouldn't have gotten the same reaction. They were smart because they knew where they were at. They knew that this could play off well. Like, the crowd was booing the segment, which is what you want. You don't want like anyone to get cheered, and that's kind of good because you're like, maybe they were booing because they were booing Baron Corbin, or maybe they were just booing the segment. But on TV, it came across like they were like, "Boo! We hate Baron," and that's what you want. So they did it in the right town. Is all I'm gonna say. Is that this segment was done in the right town.
Yeah, and I will say too, as much as you could say about him, Baron Corbin is excellent. He can go out there. Now, pre-tape stuff, backstage stuff, I feel like he's just not very good at it. But when you get him out in the audience, a live crowd, he can do whatever. And he does it well. Like I said, I just don't like how he perceives himself backstage, and like, or like the segment where he was, GM and Roman just punched him and walked out. I just felt like he does terrible acting backstage. But, out in the live crowd, he's confident. He knows what he's doing. It doesn't matter what he does. He gets nuclear heat. So I will say, a lot of that is testament to Baron Corbin. He can make things like this work and get the reaction that you want most of the time. Mm-hmm. But that's about all the talking points of SmackDown. There was a few matches announced for TLC. We can talk about that real quick. Rowan versus Baron Corbin, like we just talked about, in a TLC match. What's your thoughts?
What are they gonna climb the ladder and get? That's my question. Is like, where are they gonna climb up the ladder and get? Are they gonna reach for a can of dog food or something? I don't know.
Oh no, let's not do that. They have been TLC, like non-title TLC matches have usually been pinfall. They have done that. Yeah. So I do suspect that'll be, if they hang a can of dog food, Jesus Christ, that will be, I don't even want to talk. No, you said it. It was
a joke. It was a joke. It was a joke, but I hope I didn't jinx it and made it a reality.
And two, I will say it is weird, and I get why they did it. The Fiend in a TLC match just doesn't. I don't know how you can make that work. And that's not the Fiend character. It couldn't make it work. It's just the.
Why would he even care about climbing up a ladder?
Yeah, and two, the red light during the TLC match would be terrible. So I understand why that's not a title match in a TLC. And, I don't see Brock ever having a TLC match. It's just not going to happen. Mm-hmm. We see him in a couple Hell in a Cells, but that's about as much as you're going to get from him. He was in Money in the Bank for 5 seconds. I'll give him that. But
that don't count, Seb.
Yeah. so I, as much as I would like to see a title match be the TLC match it's highlighted, I kind of get why they didn't go for it this year. That being said, I'm sure we could have found a more. And I don't really want to say that because I am interested to see what they do with the Intercontinental title.
Mm-hmm.
There's a story that you could play where they have Ray and Orton and Styles and Drew.
You mean the U.S.
Berto
title?
all in it. Yeah, U.S. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
They can have a multi-man ladder match if they wanted to for that
Oh,
time.
yes. Let's do that.
They usually do a TLC ladder and a table match. Somehow they always try to get all three steps in. So I'll wait before I say that. I would prefer a multi-man title match for that, and that could steal the show easily. Well, I won't comment on the IC title because we actually have some questions, Vince, right here in a second to answer before we go. And that
you got some questions?
Yeah, we got some questions.
That's good.
Bray versus Miz, we talked about it is regular Bray Wyatt. What that means, we'll just have to wait and see. There are some outs they can use there. Have Daniel come back. We talked about that all we could. And also they announced Revival versus New Day. Revival won the match tonight. I do expect, like I said, Sasha versus Carmella. Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans versus Bayley, one of the two. That's about all I see from the SmackDown side right now. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think it's that. Like the only thing, like you said, the only thing confirmed so far is the tag title, the Fiend, the Bray versus Miz, and then the Corbin Roman stuff. In terms of Raw, we still don't know. I mean, tonight on SmackDown, they did way more to build up TLC that Raw did. So that's all I can ask for. They built up the show to some extent.
Yeah, well, and like I said too, earlier, there's stories there. They just haven't announced the matches. They can announce Rusev versus Bobby. There's a story there. They can announce whatever they're doing with the U.S. title. It's definitely going to be on the card at this point. Whether it's a multi-man or just against Orton.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely there. You got Seth versus KO probably in some way. I could see that.
I want that ladder match. You talked me into that U.S. multi-man ladder match. I want to see it. I think that could be match of the night.
And the story's easily there. The way they've went about things. Ricochet. Yeah, that was the 6 man. I knew there was 6 people when I thought about this a couple of days ago. But it's easily there, or they could switch, and that wouldn't really be disappointing. A AJ versus Randy match. I thought they had a very good match at Mania, and that was being distracted by a big old bright light, and that was referenced to by AJ Styles in the promo.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would easily be match of the night, given what we think of the card right now.
Mm-hmm.
And a sleeper that could be added on the Raw side is Aleister Black versus Buddy Murphy.
That could be great.
That's, a story they've been telling. So there's matches there. They just haven't really,
Wait, so do you think that they might add the IC title with Nakamura since he wasn't on TV tonight? Do you think he's going to be added at all? Or do you think they're just going to keep him quiet for another week and then they're going to build him back up after TLC?
We're going to get to that right here in a second. All right, we got 3 questions, Vince.
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Yeah, let's go for it.
We got some questions before we end the show.
All right, for sure.
Okay. And this one is from Kyle. Kata. What do you think Daniel Bryan's role will be at TLC?
I mean, I don't think we'll have a role at TLC. Like we were talking about earlier, I don't think he's going to be at TLC. I don't think we're going to see him re-debut or resurface until after TLC.
I agree. I think if there's a story to be told, I think there are a story of him screwing Bray, like I said earlier, and that would still be okay where it's regular Bray and the Fiend still protect. I think, and if this story happens, I see it playing out on SmackDown. Maybe Daniel kind of, in a way, joins the Fiend, and they kind of play off the storyline they had a few years ago when he joined the Wyatt family.
Right.
Try to tell a similar but different story at the same time. And I think that could be intriguing. And the problem with the Fiend, given the roster, is how do you get him the main? Whether it's, if I was betting, it would be against Roman right now. But the babyface side, it's pretty slim. I don't know who other than Bryan and The Miz in this short-term program, how you get there. And I think either way, you can get Bryan to probably the Elimination Chamber or Rumble if you tell the story right.
Right. I mean,
So,
I think it could be told in the way where Roman wins the Rumble. I mean, that's the easiest way out. Or Roman wins the Chamber, and that's how he gets to the Fiend.
Yeah, I just trying to think before Roman. I don't know. I was just trying to think of other than Bryan, who's there.
I mean, after TLC is the Rumble, right? Because it's not even that far away. So you can keep Bryan going until at least the Rumble, and then the build up for WrestleMania doesn't start until after the Rumble.
Yeah.
So perhaps that's where you keep this Daniel Bryan stuff going until the Rumble, and then whenever you decide to pull the trigger on Roman versus Fiend, I think that's all we're gonna get. I don't think there's gonna be an in between guy. I think it's gonna be Miz a little bit, and then Daniel Bryan. I think that's why they went with Miz at TLC, is because they want that Daniel Bryan moment versus the Fiend to happen either at the Rumble or Chamber, and extend it a little bit and give themselves a little bit more time to go ahead and thrust Roman into that Universal title picture. And honestly, I hope he really does, because I want him away from Baron Corbin right now. I'm not liking what they're doing. I think he's eventually going to overcome the odds against Baron Corbin and just move on past them.
Oh, he's definitely beating Baron Corbin. Which it was the first match. Corbin has beat him before, but yeah, I definitely see Roman coming out on top. And if I had to lay money today, that would be the Fiend's WrestleMania opponent, unless they, somebody from Raw wins the Rumble and switches over. They could play that card too. I never really thought about that. But that is something they've done in the past when they kind of had a situation like this of who's going to face who. But yeah, I just don't see it happening at TLC every way. I don't think Bryan shows up. I think the only chance he does is because it is Bray and not the Fiend. I feel like, make that make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, whether he joins the Fiend or screws him, and Bray still be protected.
Right.
Last question. I'm sorry. That was just. Second question through the table is who asked it. What do you think Nakamura would be doing at TLC since he wasn't on TV this week?
I mean, me personally, it doesn't look too good that he'll even be on TLC. It looked like he was doing like a feud, or like they were building towards something with him and Braun Strowman when he was eyeballing the IC title like a couple weeks back, but they haven't really done anything with that since. And the last time he was on TV, he was like in a tag match against New Day for the tag titles, or whatever it was. So they kind of just brushed away the whole Braun Strowman stuff. They can go, circle back to it. But as of right now, unfortunately, it doesn't look like Shinsuke will be on TLC. And if he is, it's going to be a last minute kickoff match or a last minute title match that gets announced next week.
Yeah, I don't see him being on the card either. You did bring up the Strowman thing. Other than that, really the only thing they've been playing up is him some of him and Bryan has obviously gone to other things. So. And I don't really have a problem with him not being on the card. I do get he's a champ. I get that. But just thinking about it right now with the 3 matches and what I think will be added. That's 8 matches. And if one of them is the multi-man ladder match, that's a lot of time it's going to take up. You imagine they'd have at least 25 minutes or so.
Mm-hmm.
So I would rather, if it's not a hot feud or anything like that, I would rather Nakamura just not be on the card and just start fresh after TLC instead of just feeling forced. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like a lot of times people were like, I want this guy on the card, and then when he's there, there's really no heat or build to it, and they're just like, eh. But that's just me. Last question is from SCW Wrestling Channel. What matches would you like to see added for the TLC pay-per-view? And they also said, have a great show, guys.
Aw, appreciate that. We appreciate that here. Go ahead, Seb. You start off.
Like I said, the Lacey versus Sasha Bailey, it don't have to be added. I don't guess that is a story. It can wait till after TLC. There's a story off the Starrcade where I think no matter what, the Kabuki Warriors, and that's something I didn't name earlier too, when I was talking about Raw, I think the Kabuki Warriors will for sure have a match against Becky and Charlotte. I think that's going to happen.
I mean, Becky hasn't even been on TV for the last 2 weeks, so that's not set in stone.
Well, yeah, but there's some stuff in that Starrcade match, and Charlotte coming so close in a handicap match, and it's an easy story to tell. I almost beat you by myself. You couldn't beat me with a partner, and just going with it with that route. I don't see Becky and the Kabuki Warriors taking the show off. You don't want, and not a knock against Lacey, don't get me wrong, but if you don't want that in it, that's just if they're added. I don't think you want Lacey's match to be the only women's match on the show.
Wait, hold up. Now that you mentioned that, if Lacey's match doesn't even get added, there will be no women's matches on the card. So that's a very good point. So I feel the Kabuki Warriors might defend against Charlotte. I don't know if it'll be Becky. Maybe it'll be Natalia. Maybe it's a rotating cast of partners. I don't know. They could be added. The one match for sure that's gonna get added is, I think, maybe a tag match on the Kickoff show. They're probably gonna do Twisted Bliss or whatever they're called against Fire and Desire on the Kickoff show. Continue their story, or like you were saying, like Sasha versus Lacey Evans might happen next week. I think they might save that for TLC, and that's one of the matches. But I think that could be a solid match.
And too, if you watch Becky's interviews and stuff, she talks about having one last debt to collect. I think it's very obvious they're heading something between her and Asuka. I think that would be a perfect. And if you remember when she was on TV, even 2 weeks ago, I know she's had the last week off, but she was interacting with the Warriors. So it's not like there's no history there, or it would feel random. I don't think. I think there's a story to be told. Even though they are 1 week to do. But I think with Becky and Charlotte and the talent of the Kabuki Warriors, I think it can be easily done. And it is, and I don't take these with a grain of salt, but it was advertised, and so was Roman and Corbin, and a couple of things that was officially, looks like it's going to happen at the arena. So I do think that match will happen. The multi-man U.S. title picture, like I said, I think that would be show stealing. You could have AJ, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, Ricochet, Alberto. I think it would just absolutely steal the show.
Yeah, I think for me that's the one match I want to see. You kind of talked me into it. I want to see the six that multi-man ladder match, but I also really do want to see Buddy Murphy versus Aleister Black. I think those are the two matches that I hope get added.
Yeah, that's that one for me too. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the story, but I do kind of want to see Rusev and Bobby just get in a ring some. I feel like the last couple of weeks their segments have been better. Rusev pushing the equipment over on Bobby. Pushing the equipment over on him, and then Bobby getting arrested this week. I thought that was better than it had any right to be for some reason, and that might have just been the cop, kind of agonizing. I thought it was funny. So I would kind of like just see them get in the ring. I just don't know. A ladder match doesn't make sense. I don't know if this is a match for a tables match. I don't know if that story's there. And I really don't think a regular match is what they should go for whenever they do. I don't think pinning a guy's shoulder to the mat is good payback for stealing your wife. So I just don't know how they tell that in a TLC, pay-per-view. But I would like to see them just kind of get this over with and move on. So,
for sure.
In that case of just getting over with and moving on, I kind of wish Rusev and Bobby would get at it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good reason to have that match. It's just so they stop feuding.
But that's really, what match did I say? I think that was all I said earlier for Raw. So, yeah, that's about it. Any for you?
Nah, man, just the two. Just Aleister Black, Buddy Murphy, and that multi-man ladder match. If those two get added, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, me too. And, not every pay-per-view has to have 12 matches. And two, I'll give WWE this. The shows that seem put together late always seem to be better. Like the chaotic, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, even though the matches have been late announced, I do have hopes that TLC is going to be an entertaining show. I've seen some people compare it to Starrcade 2000 or something, and I'm just like, really? Mm-hmm. So, I have faith it's going to be a good show.
Yeah, for sure, man. I think it'll be a decent show. The thing with these pay-per-views, sometimes go into it with low expectations, so you're not really let down.
Yeah, that's true too. But, Vince, or anything else you want to add?
No. It's I guess the only thing I want to add to the show is that I'm pretty stoked and happy that Sheamus is back again. This is 2 weeks in a row that he's gotten a vignette. So I'm glad that Sheamus is on TV, and I'm glad that his career isn't over. So I'm happy for that. Other than that, man, I really don't got much else to add. It was a pretty, it advanced more story. It wasn't the best SmackDown, but it advanced more story than Raw did. So I think that's all you can ask for.
I agree. I agree with that. It had a decent crowd that did what they were supposed to do. It moved stuff along. And like we said, we finally got matches announced for TLC. So, pretty good stuff. Pretty good show. Even though we're, I guess, in the minority, because every poll, not just mine, I've seen, says it was a bad show. But I liked it. And that's all I really care about.
Right, for sure.
But that's really it for us here at Smackdown Pod. This is Sebastian. Like I said, you can get me at WrestlingFan_32. You can get Vince at SESVince on Twitter. Any other thing, Instagram, anything you want to plug for?
Nah, I'm at SESVince anywhere. So if you want to find me on Instagram or whatever, I'm there. Just go ahead and just look it up.
Alrighty. Well, in that case, I guess next time we'll be seeing you is Monday Night Raw. And also, if they are a guy in the past or present, we're going to do some in the present. But we mostly want past talent, male, female, tag team, faction, doesn't matter. If you feel like that was underutilized or, just would like us to talk about them, talk about some of their career, let us know. We're going to start that new concept for us. We're trying to get that going. We've had some fans already send us some names, and we got a list going as well. So, put your input in.
Yeah,
It's a show we got to talk about.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Like our underutilized like series on the podcast, which is mostly going to be me and Sebastian with the occasional Jay or anyone else that wants to join in. Well, hopefully we're trying to bring that to you guys sometime soon. Given this, the holidays not going to be coming to you guys till like into the new year, but look out for that. That should be pretty interesting. That fancies you. Go ahead and check that out because it's something we're pretty passionate about.
Yep. And also next week it is our normal, as far as I know, normal Raw, AEW, NXT, SmackDown, and of course the pay-per-view. But next week is our throwback as well. Some people call this the greatest WrestleMania of all time. Not in my opinion, it's up there, but some people call it that. WrestleMania 17 in honor of TLC pay-per-view, and of course it included the classic freeway TLC match, the Dudleys, Hardy Boys, and Edge and Christian. So check that out. So we got a lot of interesting stuff going on, working on some new things, and we appreciate all your support. This is Sebastian and Vince at Smackdown Pod. Talk to you Monday.
Later, guys.